1, go.
Hey everyone, welcome to Random Encounters episode 4. Every Wednesday here on twitch.tv/game night now we get together and talk about this week's video game, board game, and tabletop card game news. I'm Dan, joined as always by the Pokemaster Mex,
Yo.
PC Master Race Steve.
All right.
And let's have a great time. So anybody that's here on the channel or might be left over from the earlier stream today might have noticed an enormous uptick in streams on the channel. Max, you've been living the life of a full-time streamer since you've been off work. How's that been treating you?
It's good. I'm really enjoying playing this particular Pokemon game. So I think I'm like 300 hours almost into the game over the past month and a week, I think. Hey, what's up, Chris? So yeah, I mean we're having a good time. You know, people are chatting on stream, and I think everyone is enjoying themselves. I really enjoy the new emote that we just got approved. Dan, why the hell are you still here? Go to bed, dude. This is our mod for the morning part of the show. This dude Danu is from the Netherlands, so you know, I don't know why he's still awake. It's like 2 in the morning there. So,
the suspense for we took a week off of game night or off of Random Encounters. He had to come back and find out what it's all about.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, we're having a really good time on channel on the stream.
Good stuff. Good
I'm
stuff.
enjoying
So
it.
I mean, you'd be playing regardless of if you were streaming or not. So do you
Yes.
find this is helping pass the time better, or making the time more enjoyable?
I would say if I was not streaming the game, I would just be in their position. You know, I would be watching another streamer.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I probably would not be interacting with said person. I would just be, you know, a lurker in the stream. So I really do appreciate, you know, all the people just hanging out with me and chatting and whatnot.
Good.
So,
Good.
Yeah.
I have to say I was really confused when I'd watch your stream because work has been dead for the holidays. So I've just been sitting there with my phone watching Ryan and listening to him. And I'd see this Dan and you would say, "Oh, hi, Dan." And I thought it was you, Dan. And I was like, okay. And then I'd see the 4 Dan kind pop up and I'm like, stop making shadow accounts and stop using them both at the same time.
Nope, this is a legit person. I don't know. He could be like some sort of robot over there in the Netherlands, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's a real dude. Right, Dan?
Yeah,
You
definitely
gotta
not.
let us know you're real.
He's not paying attention anymore.
No,
It's not
he's-
Pokemon.
He's
gone.
probably asleep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I warned people. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be doing this show at like 8. It's not really Pokemon related, so yeah, be ready for that.
That's not the best way to promote a podcast, my friend.
Well, they said, you know, is it on YouTube or something? I'm like, yeah, it'll be on YouTube.
Yep. We're on everything now. We're on YouTube. We are on Spotify. We're on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Last.fm, like about 1,000 other podcast services. We have like 8 views throughout the entire thing. So let's get that going.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
We have
Yeah, we're doing good.
enormous network and one guy who just listens to the same thing. Oh.
Everything. It's me. I'm not going to lie to you. It's probably just me testing the stream on everywhere.
Well, didn't you
But-
say we got like 50 cents out of one of them?
Yes. The one we are monetized on across all the platforms. We have a service that says it out there, and they monetize it, and then they give us a little tiny bit of the money.
Yeah. You
But we
gotta.
need to get up to like $100 before we can cash that out.
Well, you gotta
so
give me those links because when I am at work, I'll just like watch ads over and over again.
There you go. So, anyways, back to your streaming career. Do you find in yourself having like a newfound respect for people that do this for a living?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a lot of work to sit here for like, you know, even 4-6 hours straight and just trying to stay entertaining, I guess. Like I said before, it's just a lot easier when you have people just hanging out and talking with you. So, you know, like subscribers are nice and like the bits from people are nice, but really it's just the people watching and like chatting with you. That's
No,
pretty
definitely.
much
I was
all it
there.
is.
I was there in the beginning when it was just you, and I was trying my best to hang out with you as long as I
Yeah,
could,
I know.
just to give you somebody to talk to. And I'm really glad you developed an awesome fan base. So I'm glad that you're able to get these guys together and
Yeah,
all enjoy Pokemon Go together.
You know, I hope
Pokemon
it,
Let's Go.
I hope it continues to grow because you know, maybe we can make some other community members, streamers themselves, and let them prosper.
Good
So
stuff. Good
we'll see.
stuff.
I do have a question about that.
Yep.
Because when you were starting out and it's basically a lounge stream because
Yep.
you're just fucking sitting there waiting.
Pretty much.
Like I would come and try to chat with you for a little bit as much as I could, but the handful of times like after Christmas and into the new year, I'd jump in. Every person on there, and there'd be like 60 people watching you here and there, but they're only interested in Pokemon and they only talk about Pokemon. So like it felt almost awkward trying to bring up any other subject because you have 10 people in active chat about Pokemon, and it almost feels like there's a pressure to be like, well, don't talk about anything else because nobody's interested.
Yeah.
It's like how much of that digital grass looks nice to you, fucking standing here for 8 hours looking
Steve.
at it.
Quit
Yeah.
talking shit on Pokemon.
Hey, Cyclone, what's up? But yeah, I know what you mean. There was that one day where we had like a lot of people in the channel, and it was really cool. And I think you were like trying to ask me about like Jeff's party and whatnot, or Jeff's game night that we're gonna have this weekend. So I understand, where you're coming from. I guess it can be. I mean, I don't know if intimidating is the right word,
Well,
because it's like just people on the internet, but
yeah, but it's basically like trying to go into a Pokemon forum and ask generic questions to somebody. Like
Yeah.
it's out of place because everybody was literally there for just the one thing. It's we just want to talk about Pokemon and hang out Pokemon. Now, you're going to be playing that for quite a while now because you're
Yep.
still only about like a little over halfway done with your living decks.
yes.
So when you're done, if you don't immediately pick up the other copy and play through the whole thing on stream, do you think there's going to be a huge dive if you switch games?
In this channel?
Yeah, I mean, just in
Definitely.
general.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would assume the people who are watching me now enjoy watching Pokemon. So if I was not playing, a Cyclone might be there still, but anyone other than him might not be there. Because I would imagine they're there to watch Pokemon because that's what they're playing also. So if you like pick up a different game, unless you're like have this huge following where you can do these like variety streams, like your numbers are probably gonna plummet. And
Well,
I mean,
if you look at any popular Twitch streamer, they usually start out as streaming one game, and yes, they bring in a community of people following. But as they develop their fan base and people come to start watching them instead of just watching that particular game, that's where you can start diversifying a little bit and
Well,
doing some other things.
Yeah, I mean, you draw people in with, potentially a popular game that you're playing now, and then you need to sort of be charismatic enough for them to want to come back and listen to you, even though you've moved on from what their original point of interest, their entry was.
yeah, that's not me. I don't
Captain
have
Charisma.
I don't have that type of following, I would imagine. I mean, there might be a loyal few, but I don't see myself as, extremely charismatic or, I don't know.
Don't downplay yourself.
I mean,
man.
I hope I'm just like really good at this game, so that's why people are watching me. I'm not really sure. Maybe Cyclone and Dan, you can tell me like why you're even here, because I would like to know.
I mean, just from the, I pop in and out. I'm not usually at work all day when you're streaming, so I can't stay around for a long time. But from what I've seen, just in like the random folks that come in, they come in to ask a question. They come in to use your knowledge and to use the knowledge of your fan base here. So I don't know. It seems like you've really been fostering a really cool community. And I hope they hang around and like our, little discussions here at night, because we got together with game night to kind of give ourselves a reason to talk about video games. We're all adults, we have kids, we have jobs, and we use this forum, this ability, even when nobody's watching us, to just have a reason to get together and talk every week that we didn't have in the past.
Or you'll start to slowly go insane by the solitude of your child and your wife.
Well, luckily I do not have a child, so I guess I'm okay there.
You have a cat that's like 1/50th as bad.
I don't know. Like
Well,
he's
your
starting
child's
to.
not pulling out the
Dude,
cords.
yeah, he's like pulling out the HDMI cables from my capture card and stuff. Like I had to restart my stream like 3 times yesterday,
Yeah, I saw that.
and that was getting extremely frustrating. But I don't know. I
All right.
guess
So
Well,
I guess this is
the
a lot
next the
easier
big
to
question.
take care of a cat than a child. I guess we'll
It's
just leave it
true.
at that.
The big question is now we got to go back to work. What's the stream schedule going to look like moving forward?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably be doing a lot of afternoon streams. So honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna try to stream as early as I possibly can because I know a lot of these guys are European that are watching me right now. So even if I start at 1 p.m. here, which is like super early, that's 7 o'clock for them. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's hard to try to find a middle grounds for everybody.
Sure.
So honestly, I don't know. I can't really tell you.
Well, we will attempt to update the information on the stream here, and
Yeah, we gotta
I'm gonna
like.
try to pump you into using your Twitter a little bit
Well,
more.
yeah, I need that Twitter password to.
Yeah, you can have it. It's the same as everything else.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So, judging from the handful of people in chat saying they're definitely with you no matter where you go, I'm curious if you still have that twinge of pressure of like now that you've been able to stream reliably for the past 2-ish weeks
Mhm.
and you've sort of gotten a feel for it. Is there that pressure that if you were to go away for a little bit that it's going to die off? Because I know that like the bigger streamers, the ones that have many thousands of followers, if they go on vacation, they just immediately start shedding people like crazy
Yeah.
because you've now you've broken your what is it, your not your chain,
Yeah. No,
your
I know
your
what you're.
regular
I know what
business,
you're
so
asking, and
yeah.
yes, I do feel like I need to continue to stream, or else like everyone's gonna disappear.
Yeah, because
I 100% assume that's gonna happen. So
that's like the number one complaint of the big streamers is that
loyalty, no shedding
eventually
chancey. Yeah.
eventually they
Is that
start
a
to get
girlfriend?
burnt out from that feeling of I need to stay up with everybody, I need to have a regular schedule, and then it gets to them, they want to take a break, but then it's like you crack because you'd feel like you can't do that or you'll lose everything that you work so hard
Yeah.
to get there for.
I mean, obviously you've done more to develop this channel than we've done in a long time, from what we've doing. But that's kind of why when we sit down to set this whole thing up is why we put more than one person on the channel and why it's not any of our names and why the branding's the logo and not our faces. It's so hopefully that if Mex decides he wants to take a break and there's a fan base here that wants to see something, they can put up with my stupid ass for a day or two before they completely bail out.
Take care, Dan.
Nobody
Yeah, I
is here
mean,
to see our
it would be
stream.
nice if we could switch up games and whatnot, but I think for now, like, we really have to like
No,
push forward.
you found your niche, and I'm just glad a couple of guys came here to support you in our little endeavor
Yeah, I
into
mean, I appreciate it.
podcasting, and I
You see that
appreciate them
question?
being here.
What game do you like to play, Dan?
What games do I like to play? I am a third person action game. I like all the Zelda games. My favorite games of recent memory have been The Last of Us and some of the Uncharted games. Pretty big console gamer. PlayStation 4 is what I mostly play. Nintendo Switch recently delved into the PC gaming world, but haven't really found anything that's PC exclusive. But I like having a gaming PC. It's fun.
We actually both got that question a little bit earlier. They want to know what kind of games we're interested in. I am a video games locust. I sort of just jump into one and consume all the entertainment value that I can until I'm bored of it and jump onto another one. So, like, I played Far Cry 5 and I played it until I was pretty much done with it, or I actually beat that game, which is pretty rare for me. I usually don't beat games. And then I won't usually play another first person FPS. I will jump over to maybe like an indie game, a lighter action RPG, or I'll jump over to. Currently, I'm playing XCOM 2 because I was jonesing for that. But then once I'm done with that, I'm not going to play a tactical game. I don't really play puzzle games, but I'll just jump into something else, something random, until I get bored of it and I move on. I sort of learned that about myself because we were talking about Final Fantasies a little while ago, and I realized I only ever beat one, and I didn't even really like it. So yeah, I always just sort of like play something until my interest gets pulled elsewhere, and then I usually never come back or never complete it.
I also like to keep not like a puzzle, like a trading card game on the back burner too, because I need something that I can pop down into, play a game or two, and pop out of. It was Eternal for a long time, and now it's Magic: The Gathering Arena. But yeah, that's a little. We'll look into what we like to play, but we're going to talk a little bit today about what we're going to be playing in the coming year. So I'm going to go through the confirmed dates we have for 2019, and you guys can just stop me if I say a name of a game that you guys are interested in, and if there's something I want to talk about, I'll stop myself. You guys ready to go?
Yep. Let's start with fitness boxing.
Fitness boxing.
January 4th.
You're gonna stop me with fitness boxing?
No. I just wanted to. Okay, you can continue.
Now I'll talk about fitness boxing. I actually did some research on everything. This is like a Wii Fit game without the Wii Fit branding. It's actually made by Nintendo. I think they're just looking to capitalize on, the early January fitness craze. Everyone looking to get in shape after the new year.
All right.
So I'm pretty much. I looked at the list.
Wait, we're really going to talk about this or what?
Hey, you stopped us here, man.
So how fast can you read off? Because the first interesting thing is pretty far down. I have.
All right, I'm gonna go pretty quick. We got a remake of Mario plus Luigi. Inside Story Bowser's Journey Jr. on the 3DS. We have a remake of the new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. There's another remake, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. Another remake, Onimusha Warlords. Then the first kind of interesting game of the list is The Walking Dead Episode 3.
Faster.
All right. I'm going to talk about that, but whatever. Yakuza 4. Then we got Y2K, a postmodern RPG, which I think might be on the Wii U, which is insane. Ace Combat 7, Travis Strikes Back, No More Heroes. It's a Wii or a Nintendo Switch game. Looks pretty interesting. Life is Strange 2, Episode 2, Resident Evil 2. I have to stop here because the other guy on the stream that's usually here has been on Resident Evil 2's dick for so long that I wanted him to be here just so he could talk about it for a minute. He's been waiting for this game since Resident Evil 2 came out. So he's got me so hyped up for this game. I don't even like Resident Evil. The only Resident Evil game I've ever owned was for my GameCom, and he has me so excited to play Resident Evil 2 that I'm ready to go.
Do we know if this is a faithful redo, or are they like tweaking some things?
This is a ground up remake.
Oh, okay. So it's not just a graphical.
No. Have you played Resident Evil 4?
Which one was that? That
was the GameCube one.
The one where it was like the first over the shoulder, you could sort of actually aim the gun.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. That's the style that they're kind of making this game in. It's not that isometric third,
Yeah, tank control.
Static camera, tank control. They completely
the gun by.
They're completely remaking this.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm hyped for it. And we got Tropico 6, first like actual PC kind of game. Another dogfighting game I never heard of, and then Kingdom Hearts 3. You guys got any opinions on Kingdom Hearts 3? You guys Kingdom Hearts boys?
I never got into it. I think when it first came out, I was right at that age where I blew it off because I wanted to play. I wanted to play adult games, and them saying, there's Disney characters in it. I was like, nah, I don't fucking care. And it wasn't until probably a little too late that they were like, oh no, it's actually really good, that it was already like the 4th or 5th version of Kingdom Hearts, because don't they like keep redoing it in slightly different ways?
We're up to like 2.8.
Yeah.
something like
So
that now. That's my problem with the game. I watched my roommate Mazzetti play it in college. He is in love with it. Dolan's in love with another one of our college friends, and popping in and out. I have no idea what's going on in the story in that game, and it's been so long that I'm almost like too afraid to ask.
yeah, I mean, I do have a favorite moment regarding Kingdom Hearts, and it's not even about the game. It's about a guy who is cosplaying because I was at the Renaissance Fair, and it's pretty much anything goes. People just walk around in cosplay nowadays. And a
Mhm.
guy had a giant keyblade over his shoulder, looking like a big doofus, and walked into this little shack selling wind chimes and proceeded to just like shoulder all of them with his fucking keyblade and almost like knocked half the store down and had to leave in disgrace. It was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen there.
But
Yeah, I've never personally played the Kingdom Hearts game, so like I'm kind of in the same boat as you guys. Like I really don't know what to expect, and I'm not sure if it's something I would actually play myself.
this is one of those games that if you're deep into it, and this is you've been waiting for this for years because I think they announced Kingdom Hearts 3 like 10 years ago at this point. It's been so long that this game's been waiting to come out. So I'm excited for the fan base. I am, but I don't know if I'm going to jump in here or not. We'll see what the rest of these games end up looking like in the early part of the year if there's time to play it or not.
It says
If
PS4, Xbox. It's not on the Switch.
No, not yet. And I don't know if I would imagine that at some point they would probably bring it over. They've been making the game so goddamn long that it was probably making it for PlayStation 3 architecture, so it can't be like that graphically intensive.
Mm-hmm.
So Kingdom Hearts feels to me like Persona all over again in that it has a fairly decent like lineage, but I wasn't there for any of it. So
Mm-hmm.
it feels almost a little too daunting to try to jump in at like the 20th iteration because you don't really know what's going on, even if it's a standalone game. You don't have any history or connection to the game, even if it is really good.
Yeah, and Max brings up a good point. I think this would be a really good Nintendo Switch game because I can give games a try on a Nintendo Switch as opposed to my Xbox or PlayStation because the PlayStation just feels like you got to turn it on. And the Switch, I never get the feeling that my Switch isn't just ready to play a video game. And I'm not sure if that's just because of how quickly it turns on,
Yeah.
or the fact that I can sit on the couch next to my wife and play a video game while she watches House Hunters International for the 400th time.
No, I agree with you. Like I really enjoy the Switch just because I can move it around and like play wherever I want. I can take it up into bed if I want. I can play on the couch. I can play here on the computer. It's just very versatile. So
yeah. Cool. Well, rounding out what do you want? Rounding out January, we had 2 visual novels that nobody cares about. Then they got the computer release of Ace Combat 7. We got a Blaze Blue for Switch, God Eater, Titans Rising.
I'm gonna say I'm curious
about
God Eater.
I did look into this a little bit earlier.
I had God Eater 2 on my. I put things I'm interested in on my wish list on Steam, and then when there's like mass sales, I'll go check it out and see. Like I'll revisit it and see if I think it's worth whatever the price is. And I was constantly on the fence about 2 because I kind of wanted to play an action RPG at the time, and it looked fairly interesting, but I think the reviews kind of turned me off on that one. So we'll see how it goes with 3. I'm also a little nervous about it because a lot of the Japanese RPGs have a habit of throwing a lot of shit at you right away. And
yeah, they don't ease you into the mechanics at all. They just kind of give you the whole toolbox and say go to town.
Well, I've had this issue with a couple ports before where what did I get? I think I got like a Dynasty Warriors game because I was really interested in one. And I picked it up, and it was a port from one of the PlayStation versions, but they gave you everything that ever came out as like a bonus or download from the console version. So right away, they're like, here's a bunch of characters, here's a shitload of special weapons. And I was like, I don't even know how to use any of this. I don't know what's good, what's bad. I don't know. Like, it's just a total overload. I was like, I don't know what to do with any of this. I've got so much shit. It's like,
Mhm.
It's like jumping into a RPG on somebody else's save file and just having like your inventory full, and you're like, I don't know what any of this is.
This game looks like it's going to be on sale really quick, so it might be a Steve ass game because it might be $30 by the second weekend.
Oh no, I wouldn't buy that for $30.
No, well, it's coming out as a full $60 release, so you might be playing it for might not be playing it for a while.
No, that's gonna be like a 2020 like 19. No, actually I probably wouldn't even buy it. I probably will never play it actually. 'Cause, not even for the price. It's just gonna be like I have to be so judicious with what games I'm going to play because of how much time I don't have, that I don't play games that I might be interested in unless I'm like really at a point where I don't really know what to play or I'm just looking for something new. Uh, I will pick up something that I do want to play and I'll play the shit out of it until I find something else I do want to play anymore.
Well, that brings us to the first like must-buy game on this list, Trials Rising, and I'm not being facetious on that one. I'm actually genuinely want to play this game. You know what the Trials games are? They're the side-scrolling motorcycle games. You do flips and try to get over shit.
I used to watch, what's that guy's name? He was a YouTube personality, but I think he only streams anymore. He did Trials with a bunch of his friends, and I saw a decent amount of it.
It reminds me, I'm not even sure if they were called Trials back in the old Flash game, little thing where you collected apples and tried to get over stuff. Like that was, I had a lot of fun with that back in programming class because I didn't want to do my actual work.
Ooh, Scene Enters. That's what his name was. I used to watch a decent amount of him, and then I knew some of the other personalities he'd have on the show. And there was a guy I really liked, and I was really happy because he suddenly showed up on some of the role-playing streams that I used to watch.
Cool. All right. Well, then this brings us to the 15th of February, the first like banger day of the new year. We got Crackdown 3, Dead or Alive 6, Far Cry New Dawn, Jump Force, and Metro Exodus. I think there's something for just about everybody on that day.
I'm actually interested in Crackdown 3. I played Crackdown 1 and I really liked it. I don't think I played 2 because it was in a console generation I didn't have.
It wasn't worth playing. I was actually very surprised that Crackdown 3 is a real thing. I thought they were going to cancel this game.
Yeah, I want to see what they're going to do with it, and even then, I will wait for reviews.
Well, this is a good opportunity to try out Xbox Game Pass. $10 a month streaming. You know, you pay $10, you can play every game in their library. So that means you could get at it for $10 and cancel it after a month if you're not interested in it. Plus, have access to everything else that's in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure every single game is available in that.
I
think there's some like exceptions, aren't there?
Not any new Xbox exclusive first party title is being released day and date on Xbox Game Pass.
Okay.
So
that includes Crackdown 3.
Because I don't have an Xbox.
It works on PC as well.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I was like, why are you telling me this?
No, I played Sea of Thieves, which I'm glad I did not spend $60 on Sea of Thieves because it was a very content light game, but I didn't pay for a full copy of that game. I paid for a month of, or not even a month. I had a 15-day free trial of Game Pass, which you probably still have access to. And yeah, I had a really good time with it. And Game Pass, I think, is what's going to revolutionize the way that people play video games. Once a competitor to that comes out and they are fighting for market share, I mean, that's the way I want to play video games now. Like, I don't want to have to invest $60 in a game that I may or may not like, or I'd much rather spend. I'll probably end up spending more money in a year, spending $10 a month for Game Pass or whatever other options they have. But I feel better about having a whole library of games to play as opposed to if I dropped $60 on Crackdown 3 and either beat it in a weekend or hated it.
I think I agree with you. If my situation was I was still without a child. If I had a lot more time to play games, I would mill through games a lot faster, or at least
you need Max to finish one of his versions of Pokemon so you can buy his extra Switch off of him. You know he bought an extra Switch, right?
I did not know that.
I have 2 Switches.
Okay.
You were commenting on that earlier, whether or not he can plow through the other version of the game or not. Well, it's already happening.
Well, I did not get a Switch for Christmas, and now it's definitely off the pile for quite a while because I
Insane.
have to fix our dishwasher. So yeah, uh, games just not gonna happen for a while.
All right. Well, after that, that's Dead or Alive 6. You guys fighting game fans? I know this is another Tim moment. I've always liked Dead or Alive games. The one that came out on the first Xbox was the last one that I got really into. And, you know, I was the appropriate age for Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball when that came out.
There was a knockoff to that came out on the GameCube, and I bought it just for the laughs, but it was a legitimately really good volleyball game, and I played the shit out of it.
That was a weird time when games like that. That was when like BMX Triple X was coming out, and there was just like these weird nudie games that were coming out on main consoles.
They figured out how to do jiggle physics, and they had to exploit that as much as possible. Far Cry New Dawn is not going to be a instant buy for me.
No, I mean you put hundreds of hours into Far Cry. You're not anxious to jump back into that world.
Wasn't Tim saying he enjoyed those too, the Far Cry games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait though because there's nothing immediately jumps out to me as new. The setting I'm not super sold on. I liked the, you know, you're in a hick town you can't escape and there's a cult, where this one is just generic sort of end of the world scenario or post-apocalypse. And I'm gonna wait to see if the reviews come back solid, because it doesn't look any different than a giant expansion to 5, and the expansions that already did come out for 5 were not good. So I want to see what happens.
I'm in two games. I'll have something to say about that. We'll take one little pit stop at Jump Force. You guys anime fans by any chance? I want to play a big crossover anime fighting game.
Crossover from what?
Anime. Dragon Ball Z, One Piece.
It's all of the popular anime and American styled anime for kids.
Bleach, Naruto.
Yeah, for like the young teens and up. Because
to the North Star, Bleach, My Hero Academia. I mean, if you're digging some good anime and you want to see a crossover fighter, this is your jam. This is like the Super Smash Brothers of anime fighters. The weird thing is I feel like Dragon Ball FighterZ just came out not that long ago, and I mean that was so big and so awesome. I don't know if this is gonna get associated with that too much. Like, oh, what is this, like an expansion to that? But it's not the same style of fighter. It's more of like a 3-dimensional or 3D fighter. I mean, the Dragon Ball FighterZ is too, but
if I was into fighting games, I'd probably be interested in it because I have at least watched a good number of those. So, yes, but I'm not into fighters, so no.
Well, maybe we'll get it for Fight Night sometime, and we'll force you to play.
Yeah, Fight Night that I have never gone to.
We'll have to buy it so we can.
You should come you come to Fight Night next time.
Yeah, so I could be like, oh, cool, now I'll be Naruto, and then Tim will just be like, and you've lost. I didn't even pick a character. You've just lost.
I don't know. The last time I went
Brad's the guy that...
The last time I went to a Fight Night with Tim, he opened a game that he never played before. So I forget which one that was. It was the Injustice, I think, maybe.
Injustice 2?
Yeah, I mean, it was like months and months ago. But
yeah.
The problem,
he usually tries to open up. He doesn't try to get real good at a fighting game, especially if he knows that nobody else has played it before. It's not really that fun. Yeah. That's why nobody wants to play Smash Brothers with me.
I used to play fighting games, but they were always a little bit more simple. Like
Shiny Alakazam is badass.
You just had the 3 or 4 buttons for attack, and then if you like held any other direction or did a combo, it was cool. But I tried to play one of the Injustice games a couple years ago, and there were so many nuances, and it was like, here's how you like animation cancel as part of the game, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was,
I mean, that's how you play these games now.
Yeah, the WB games are not. If you want to get back into a fighter, Dragon Ball FighterZ is the one to pick up.
If I were to get back into any fighter right now, I would probably pick up Soul Calibur because I did enjoy the shit out of that on the GameCube back in the day.
Well, the next game up is Metro Exodus, and I think that game being good or not is going to determine whether Far Cry New Dawn has any legs to stand on. Because Metro Exodus looks like a really cool game.
Yeah, I think they developed it pretty well, and that's another one of those games where the people who like the series are definitely going to jump all over it. I don't have any particular feelings towards it because I downloaded Metro 1 like 2 years ago, and it's at this point so ancient that it like didn't even have rudimentary options for running the game, and I didn't enjoy myself.
Well, going through the rest of February, we've got a couple of visual novels that nobody cares about, and then a visual novel that people do care about, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy, Nintendo Switch. That's a big one. And then Anthem. I think that's probably the first huge game. No, Crackdown in Far Cry, but
We can't say
Anthem.
anything, but you guys did play the alpha, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna download Origin for it. It's not worth my time.
You wouldn't download Origin to play something for free. It's a thing, and I was a part of it. I wish there wasn't an NDA on it, or else I'd talk about it more. But hopefully they lift that soon, and we can start talking about it.
Yeah.
I watched some guys play it on a YouTube clip, and
Those are probably the guys that got banned immediately.
no, they were doing a real, like, sanctioned like look at some of the features. I think they were employees, and it looks interesting, but without like getting some actual gamer reviews from a finished product, it doesn't really look that much different than a more open Destiny. I was kind of right in what it looked like.
I mean, yeah, that's what they're going for. EA wants to cash in on some of that Destiny money.
Yeah.
And so they gave BioWare a whole bunch of money for their own and said, make a good game.
But yeah, we don't want to get sued for talking about it, and we don't want Game Freak coming after us for that emote either. So we'll keep both of those things on the down low.
Well, we don't want to end up like Soldier Boy and having our website get redirected
Yeah.
to Nintendo for using their intellectual property.
Yeah.
So closing out February, we got Anno 1800. Looks like a Sim City tile game. Dirt Rally and Left Alive. Opening up March, Phil, one of the other guys that we play games with, probably most anticipated game, Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove.
So is that a
Got Sega
remake or
Kids.
is that like a brand new game?
I think it's a new game.
Because I played the first two a lot and I enjoyed them. Back on Sega or whatever. I don't know
It's
if I
a
would
mashup.
be willing to play a
very
new
best
one,
features
though.
of the classic console games with a ton of funky, fresh improvements. So it looks like it's a remake. Like
Wow. So I don't know if I'd pay $60 to replay Toe Jam and Earl, but
y'all know it's not going to be $60. It's
Yeah,
going to be.
if there's new stuff, you never know.
It's not going to be $60. I'll work on getting a price for you. I didn't write that down, but if this is more than $30, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I think I would pass just because Toe Jam and Earl was always a game that you wanted to play with somebody else, and I don't have anybody I can reliably play with in my like allotted time to play games. Like we bought Cook Serve Delicious 2 or whatever it was, and
Overcooked.
outside, yeah,
Are you
Overcooked.
trying to say Overcooked?
Yeah, sure, that one.
What?
I played it like 3 or 4 times with you guys, and I haven't touched it since because it's not worth playing by myself.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
neither have I. I haven't played
Yeah.
it since
No.
we were playing months ago.
Yeah, and I mean, when we did play it, my 2 coworkers watched us and they thought it was fun, but I was like, yeah, and then we didn't want to play it anymore, and now it's sitting there. I'm never going to go back to it because
Well,
that's
we
a
can play it
multiplayer
again.
game.
I mean, it was fun.
No, I'm game.
I do enjoy
Definitely
Overcooked.
game.
It was good.
Well, then let's fucking do it. The last time I asked you, you're like, that's not a good streaming game. I'm like, that is the perfect streaming game.
Well, I mean, it's not a good streaming game for me because my computer sucks. So
Yeah.
one of you
Well,
guys would have to stream it.
Yeah.
It streamed pretty well off of mine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No,
I
it
think
was it was
your
fine once we
processor's
moved it
definitely
off of my computer. So
yeah, your
yeah,
processor's definitely bottlenecking it. You're running out of threads.
it's all these
But
Pokemon holding me down.
so we got Total War 3 Kingdoms and then Devil May Cry 5. Um, might get
I'm
back into the Devil May Cry series for that one. That one looks good enough.
yeah.
I
I
took
watched
a break on it for since 3, but definitely it looks like something that could be fun.
I watched the review, or not the review, the trailer for it, and I was like, yeah, this actually looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like that they kept it like that over the top style. They didn't try to ground it at all. Like it's still just a wild, early 2000s trench coat, long hair, motorcycle, room room game, and they're staying right in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, like it looks trashy and fun, which is
Mhm.
right where it needs to be.
So then we got the Catigula effect overdose. No idea. Didn't look that one up. Then we got
Is that-
One Piece. Go
Is that
ahead.
Caligula?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Caligula.
Caligula.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's a Roman emperor long ago.
Yep. That makes a lot more sense than what I said. Then get a One Piece game, and then the direct competition to Anthem, Tom Clancy's The Division 2. You guys touch this at all when the first one came out?
I did play the first one, and I did enjoy it for a little while, but I had the same problem that Shank had when we were playing any sort of first-person RPG hybrid, is that eventually you fight enemies that just become bullet sponges. That's all they are.
That was
So
the
there's
problem
like
I had with the game.
yeah, you have like a guy there in rags with a handgun, and you're pumping a shotgun or like a heavy machine gun just right into his face, and he's just not dying because he's like, well, I've got 10,000 HP for being a homeless bum with a crowbar, but whatever. And yeah, it just gets kind of annoying, and I got really annoyed that the most interesting place was the PvP zone, and I fucking hate PvP. And everybody would just jack each other's shit constantly. Like that game was set up so you'd go into these high risk areas, collect loot, but you had to evacuate the loot or you didn't get to keep it.
Mhm.
And as soon as you call for an evac, everybody on the map knew it was coming. So people would come out of the woodwork and just kill everyone waiting for the evac, and all the loot would drop. And whoever the strongest person was, it was basically just like a feeding frenzy. And I was like, this fucking sucks. You can't get anywhere. I don't have enough time or interest to just keep fighting the same idiot over and over again.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm gonna play either Anthem or the Division 2. I haven't decided yet. It's probably gonna end up being Anthem since I've kind of played the Division, and it's probably gonna just be more of the same. Super Robot Wars T, The Sinking City, and then Shakiro Shadows Die Twice from Development, the guys that make the really hard games. Dark Souls, that's the word I'm looking for. It's like a ninja Dark Souls.
What's the Sinking City?
I don't know. That looks like a U kind of game.
Oh, actually, if that's what I think it is, I might be super into that.
Dude, are you telling me that there's actually a game on this list that you actually might buy? Because we need like fireworks to go off right now.
Oh no, yep, this is the one. It's a upcoming action horror adventure game, blah blah blah, inspired by the horror works of H.P. Lovecraft, and I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan. I actually saw this like teaser art and whatnot a little while ago, and it looked really good. And then what is that game that just came out that we were talking about?
The Call to Cthulhu.
Yeah, I actually transposed the two, and so I thought that was the one that just came out and the reviews sucked for, so I sort of gave up hope. So I'm actually really happy that we just discovered this and that the game I wanted to play hasn't actually been released yet. So I'm really happy about that. I want to.
If you promise to play this like the day it comes out, I'll stink and buy it for you.
I was actually really gonna buy Call to Cthulhu because I thought it would be a good streaming game, and it was up like on the top tier for like a day, and then it like totally crapped out. So I'm kind of glad I did not.
A lot of people peeking in, and
it wasn't a good game.
That's the end of it.
Plus, I don't think my computer would like play it well. So
Ryan, are you a jumpy person when it comes to horror?
Yeah, yeah. I close
So,
my eyes when I watch movies, so
yeah, I do the same
In
thing.
the same way.
Um, I actually really enjoyed playing Amnesia: The Dark Descent. It's pretty old by now, but that was a really unique and just fantastic game when it first came out. And I would highly recommend it. And I'm hoping that this has that same feel to it, even though it's supposed to be a different game, because
mm,
that one was more about like sneaking around and kind of staying away from the bad guys. And it had this weird effect where if you even started looking at the bad guy, your vision would start to twist. You'd start to hear shit, and you had to like not see them. But if you didn't see them, you didn't know which way they were going to walk into
sure,
you. So
sure.
it was a balancing act. And I mean, there's a couple times where you just kind of have to run for your life, and you can hear them right behind you, and it gets super tense. And it's not really like into jump scares, but it's super atmospheric, and it'll fuck with you. And I played it to the end. I beat it. I was really upset when the second one came out, A Machine for Pigs, and it was not as good. But I did play it and beat it too. Um,
You
but
have that on your Steam account?
yeah, you should have access to
Yeah, I'll have
it.
to download it and play it.
I would highly recommend you do it, but I would also recommend you stream it because it's going to be one of
I
those
don't,
ones
I
where
don't,
people are gonna
I don't want to
they're
look
gonna
like an idiot on stream any more than I already do.
Too
So
late.
I don't know.
yeah, no, that would actually draw a lot of people in if they caught you watching that or playing that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And definitely turn down the lights. You have to get
Stream it.
minorly, atmospheric about it. It does lose little something if you're in like a bright lit room and it's daylight outside. Like I would reserve that until it got dark. I'd turn out all the lights and I'd just sit there and just be super fucking creeped out trying to stay away from monsters. But
All right, I'll have to check it out
I
at
look
some
forward
point.
to that. Nope, stream it. Exactly. Cyclone knows what's up.
yeah, your own people are telling you what to do with it.
All right.
All right, so we're going into April, and this is where I start getting pissed off why they had to release probably the two games on this list that are day one must buys for me: Mortal Kombat 11 and Days Gone in the same week.
I thought you were going to say
Kombat.
Super Meat Boy Forever.
No, that just has an April release date. We don't know when that's actually going to be. But the nice thing is they're completely different games, so I can just kind of get my feelings together for Mortal Kombat 11 for whenever Tim inevitably does a fight night for that. But
What's,
I think Days
Days
Gone's
Gone?
the next.
Yeah, what is that?
It's PlayStation's next like first party title. It's a zombie game where you kind of, the gimmick is that you have to kind of use the horde mechanics of the zombies to accomplish tasks. So you can like toss like a flashbang grenade into a fort and then open the front gate of the fort so that all the zombies flood in there and kill all the people for you. And you're kind of trying to use the environment to help you solve the puzzles that it presents you with.
Seems interesting.
Wait a
Yeah.
second. Which game are we talking about?
Days Gone.
Oh, you know,
It's
I
only
was
on
thinking-
PC, so you've never heard of it. Or it's only on PS4. Sorry.
Because I sort of zoned out there just for a second when you were talking about Mortal Kombat 11, and my
Jesus
mom sent
Christ.
me a text. But you started talking about waves of zombies breaking things in, and that reminded me of a game called like We Are Billions or something like that, which is basically like you have to build a huge fort castle to keep out the waves of zombies, and they will eventually win. So you just have to get to like a specific amount of time. So yeah,
This isn't that. This is
No.
like an open world survival
Just like a
hard
single player game.
Yes. Yes. I have not been disappointed in anything first party Sony has had to deliver. Honestly, I can't even remember the last time I was disappointed in something they did. Going back 2 years to Horizon Zero Dawn through God of War and Spider-Man. I mean, it's been an awesome year to be a PlayStation 4 owner, or awesome 2 years to be a PlayStation 4 owner. And this is the next game that's coming out for them. If it wasn't Sony, I wouldn't even give it a look. But just because it's first party, it's definitely going to be an early must buy for me. Closing out April, we have Dauntless and the aforementioned Super Meat Boy Forever, which I think is actually an endless runner. instead of a platformer.
Oh, really?
Fuck those games. I had Super Meat Boy, and I got to like the 3rd level before I was like, "That fuck this forever. I'm never."
That's
playing
because you're not good at video games.
No, I
Yeah,
think I watched speedrunners play Super Meat Boy, and like
Yeah,
it
that's
looked so bad that I don't know.
No, I don't like those games where there's basically a specific formula you have to do. It's like you must run for X amount of time, jump, hold the jump for X amount of time, double jump, and if at any point in time you miscalculate, you die and you do it again, and you just rinse repeat. And I was like, this isn't interesting or fun, and it's just frustrating.
So then,
Dan, you have a
what
question?
else?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Pay attention, man.
I'm a Ganon main.
What
He's
is
my
your
favorite.
favorite?
I know he's not any good, but I love playing with him. And when you're playing non-competitively, he's the most frustrating character in the world to play up against because he's so powerful that he just launches people immediately.
Isn't that the one who flips people around with his cape or whatever?
That was Mario.
Is it? I thought
Mario has the cape flip.
I thought Ganon did that too. But...
No, when you played against me in Glen, I probably nonstop just down aired to stomp on your faces.
Probably, yeah.
Is that he used to refer to as the slut stomp? Because he got very mad after a while because that's all I would do over and over again. Going into May, we got the exact same game that Fallout is, Rage 2. On paper, it looks like the same game. It actually looks like it's a pretty fun game. Colorful, nice first-person shooter. Post-apocalyptic, so Steve's not interested.
I'm tainted because I played the first one for a little bit and it wasn't good. Wasn't interested. So Rage 2, it doesn't have any appeal as a return to that.
Team Sonic Racing. What's up with that? I've never heard that before.
It is exactly what it sounds like. It is Sonic kart racing.
Wasn't this one of the games that we were debating was going to come to one of the systems?
No,
I think that was Crash Team Racing,
yeah.
which is the next one on our list.
Yeah, that was... Yeah,
same fucking thing.
I mean, I didn't realize there were so many Sonic characters, I guess. I remember watching the cartoon when I was a lot younger. So there were like maybe 4 different characters on the cartoon.
You missed out on the plethora of really shitty games they've released on systems since then. So there's like...
there were some really weird...
Yeah, they got
really weird Sonic games.
They had like Shadow the Hedgehog, which was just the black Sonic, but he was a gangster.
People like Shadow the Hedgehog. People like Shadow. No, there's a lot of Sonic characters aside from like just Knuckles and Tails. There's the girl Sonic, and then there's like an alligator, and a whole bunch of other people. But I don't understand why Sonic needs to use a car.
That's true. I feel like he should just be able to run around
if he wasn't in a car.
All the other characters use a car, and he just runs.
Yeah. So
Super Sonic can just fly.
Definitely a year for kart racers, because the next thing on the list, albeit a whole month later, is Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel, which is a remake of the original Crash Team Racing. You said this was the Crash game that you played the most of, right, Max?
No, I'd say this was the Crash game that I played the demo the most of.
Okay.
Back when, demo discs were a thing, but no, the Crash game I played a lot was Crash Warped. It was the 3rd one in the series.
Gotcha. I'm probably going to have a hard pass on both of those. If I was, hard pressed for a Mario Kart game or something like that, and there really wasn't anything for a while, but I think Mario Kart is keeping my attention decent enough for parties and whatnot when I need to bust it out.
Yeah.
So we got a game called Phoenix Point, which I didn't look up, which I should have. And then Shenmue 3. And I left no notes on this one because I knew Tim was going to be able to talk about this for the next hour and a half. He has kind of a love-hate relationship with Shenmue. He loves Shenmue 2, but it did not age very well. There's a lot of things that Shenmue 2 did that invented into the genre, and now it's just like tedious and boring. And other games are doing what Shenmue 2 did better. And if Shenmue 3 just thinks that they can do all those things, it's going to be a very boring video game.
I have nothing to add.
All right, so we got some other games on the list that don't have release dates. And again, stop me if you want to. We got the new Animal Crossing game coming out. We got Biomutant, which is THQ Nordic's first big, their own IP. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Is this something that has been on your radar, Steve?
This is the first I've heard of it, but I was just talking to my brother-in-law because when the games were on sale, we were talking about a couple different ones, and maybe it was here too. But there was supposed to be a couple games that had a Symphony of the Night feel to them, but for one reason or another, I wasn't interested. Like I couldn't get into it. I don't remember what it was, but there was one that had a little bit more of like a cutesy art where everybody just had kind of like skull heads or masks. And I was watching it and I was like, wow, that gameplay looks really good and I'd be interested in it, but I can't break through into it because the art style just was turning me off too much.
No, this looks exactly like Symphony of the Night. And they had a stretch goal to release an 8-bit game, and they released that last year, and it got huge critical acclaims, which is kind of a Castlevania in the style of the 8-bit Castlevania games, and it lit the world on fire for the week that everyone was talking about it. And I can see this doing it again. So put that one on your radar. I think that's definitely a Steve game that he needs to play.
Yeah, I mean, Symphony of the Night is like one of my favorite games I've ever played. So I'm interested, but I've been burned enough times that I'm gonna wait and see.
So then we got Doom Eternal, which is just a follow up to Doom. If it's just more Doom, then Tim's gonna buy that. Dreams, I need to see what the hell that is. It's a bake your own video game type thing where they give you development tools and then people can develop their own stuff. The demo, the beta just came out, closed beta came out, and there should be an open beta.
People, right?
That from the people that made that game.
People that made that.
Yeah. Then we got Gears 5. Haven't played a Gears of War game in a long time, and I don't know that Gears 5 is good enough to bring it back in.
I got a free Gears of War download on my Xbox One, and I haven't played it yet.
Well, that's not a good sign that you're going to be playing this one. Yeah. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, depending on when it comes out, that might be a game I might play. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is another Game Pass game if you feel like getting that Xbox Game Pass. Psychonauts 2. You guys Psychonauts fans? You play that at all?
Missed it. I know it's a fan favorite, but
it's a cult favorite. Then Respawn's making Jedi Star Wars The Fallen Order. We don't know anything about this game. It's only suspected to be released this year.
I'm most excited about that game over any other game then, because we don't know anything about it. It could be the very best game I've ever played.
Well, Respawn's a fantastic studio, so I'm interested. They definitely got me interested, but I hate to skim past everything to get to quite possibly what's going to be my 2019 game of the year, Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean?
Oh my sweet God, it looks like the best freaking video game ever.
Is that the dumb one where you're just a fucking goose running around that you were showing us?
You wash your mouth out with soap before you call this game dumb. It's like a beautiful cell shaded game where you play as a goose that just goes around and is asshole to people. You try to like bite people in the ass. It's kind of like Goose Metal Gear Solid. You kind of like hide in the bushes and like honk and make the guy walk by and then you bite him in the ass. I'm not kidding. I'm legitimately excited for this game.
All right, we'll have to take a look. The Goose version of Goat Simulator.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's not
when you were saying
though.
It, and that's what turned me off because I played Goat Simulator before, and when it was hot and people were like, "This is the best fucking game," and I roamed around for like an hour.
I don't think anybody ever said Goat Simulator was the best fucking game.
Oh no,
it was fun.
Yeah, that game was pretty bad.
Came out,
yeah, it was fun for like an hour, and then that's it.
Yeah, I was like, why'd I buy this?
No, check this game out. They've been teasing it. It's been floating around, GDCs. They always have the same footage essentially, but it's supposedly coming out this year, and I'm very excited for that. Then we have the Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is like a co-op version of Wolfenstein. I'm thinking that might actually be a pretty cool stream if any of you guys are up for it. And then Yoshi's Crafted World, and then I didn't have it on the list, but it is named. It is on the expected release. There is a full new generation of Pokemon coming out.
Yep, should be Gen 8 sometime in the second half of the year. So keep an eye out.
Are you gonna try to stretch out Let's Go the whole way to the next?
I might not even be done by then, so we'll see.
Are you gonna bail? Are you gonna bail and head to the next gen if you're not done by?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is it going to be a traditional next gen, or is it going to be this new
I believe
like
it's a
style.
new batch of Pokemon, but I guess
Well,
we'll.
no, I mean like because the one that
Catch
you're playing
mechanics.
now is basically a redo of
Right.
Blue and Red. Like it
Correct.
has whole new mechanics,
Yep.
whole new way to play it. So is the one coming out an addition to how you're playing it now, or is it an addition to the standard game
I don't
like
know.
that just takes place after Sun and Moon?
If they were smart, I think they would have the Pokemon walk around like I'm playing
Yeah,
currently, but I don't think they're gonna do that. So
because I
I
think
don't
I'd be
know,
more
man.
interested.
I've heard more people say that they like the way, our show is called Random Encounters, but people fucking hate random encounters. They hate traipsing around through the grass to maybe see something they want.
yeah.
I think they're going to do away with the catch mechanics. I think that's going to be a one and done. And maybe, I can see them doing a remake of,
Gen
Gold
2.
and Silver or something
Yeah,
like that with the
let's
same catch
go. Let's
mechanics.
go Togepi or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, random encounters are an outdated mechanic for like walking around and getting attacked. I mean, I was hoping they were going to do away with that back in Super Nintendo when you'd play Chrono Trigger and you could actually see the enemy and choose to fuck with them or take off.
I mean, I think that half of the fact that like shiny hunting is more interesting to watch is that they are all out on screen, and there is the possibility that Mex is going to miss one, like he has so many times in the past.
Or choose to pass them up, like all the fucking Pidgeoties that I see.
Those Pidgeotos, I don't need them when I was looking for a Tangela. When you're on a 15-hour hunt, man, you can't give
break
up.
that chain.
You just got to keep going.
But I also understand that, at least I think, because I haven't played any of the newer standard Pokemons, that in that case, I think shinies just have a static chance, whereas in your game, you can do things to change the odds, like the combos and the lures and whatnot. So I don't know if shiny Pokemon hunting in the traditional sense.
You've got too many people that know too much about shiny hunting to speculate about things like that. How does shiny hunting work in other games? I'm sure somebody can chime in.
In other games, I have no idea, but I know how it works in this game. So.
Well, yeah, you're the.
I've never played any of the other generation games, so I've only played Pokemon Red, Pokemon Go, and this game. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
I've played all of them up until X and Y.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were that big of a Pokemon fan.
I mean, I'm a casual Pokemon fan. I'm not looking to.
But you still need to buy the game and have the system,
Yeah.
Granted, it was Game Boy?
Yep. It was Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and then I played
like a 2DS, I guess.
The regular DS one. Not on mine. I borrowed it from somebody else after it was sitting around for a while. But I like Pokemon, and I'm the reason I didn't play the more modern ones because I didn't have a 3DS.
Yeah,
they're always a nice little fun game to play, and I will be playing this new one once it comes out.
But we'll see. I'm excited. I mean, I think I'll be done shiny hunting at that point, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know if I can
brand new.
Well, I don't know if I can continue this like 7-hour a day average for the next 6 months, but we'll see.
You were doing 7 hours a day, not streaming before, so
this is true.
I guess the hard part is that you could do it watching TV and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited. We could probably do a whole deep dive on, maybe the next time a piece of Pokemon, data leaks out. We can talk about what we actually think the game's going to be, because I do have some theories about how it's going to work.
Yeah, that'd be fun to talk about at a later time.
Definitely. So, of the games listed, what's the standout? What's the one that you're definitely going to play?
The most interesting game that I'm super amped for playing is not on this list.
Why didn't you add it to the list?
It technically doesn't belong on the list because it's already out.
Okay.
I really, really want to play Keyforge.
Okay. It's a card game. And...
But that being said, I want to see the game successful because Richard Garfield and Fantasy Flight have sort of slipped that there is an intention that if it's popular enough, they'll take it online, which they kind of already did because there's a bunch of third-party
Yeah.
systems and programs that you can play, and they already have a better system in place because I think you saw my text the other day about the QR code keeping your shit sealed because it exposes the QR code and you can register. So right now, registering a deck for the first time gets you an Amber Shard, which I don't know what that does, but it also keeps your deck registered to you for the purposes of tracking. Because when you start playing in sanctioned events, they start to tally your wins and losses, and then it sort of ranks your deck. And it kind of gets to the point where, like, if you, because the decks are randomly generated, and you have no way of powering up or powering down them, that if you start a winning streak, you start to have a deck penalty. Because I guess there was that chain system.
Yep. So you start out by drawing. You don't draw up to a full. What is the 6-card hand?
Yeah.
You draw 5 cards until your chains run out.
Yeah. So the more often your deck wins, the more you just start with a chain penalty in sanctioned tournaments. And I was like, that's actually a really good way to do it because if you have a deck that dominates, the more it dominates, the more of a handicap it starts to receive. And I was like, that's a really smart idea. I actually, after watching people play and understanding how to jostle, playing the certain factions because you have 3 of them in your hand and what the best tactically thing to do is, I was like, this is a really smart game. I really hope it sells well, which is probably the only problem that they currently have because
their only problem it would sell really well if you could actually go out and buy it.
Yeah, unfortunately,
you can't walk into a store and buy it right now.
Yeah, I found the reason to that is that Fantasy Flight Games only works with a single distributor, and that distributor is like a really low ranked one because there's another distributor for games like Magic and everywhere else that kind of has a stranglehold on the market. So they can't get their physical copies to anybody. I think they can get them out to Barnes and Noble, and I think everybody else mostly has to like buy them from Fantasy Flight to put onto their store shelves. So their distribution is really bad, and I think it's kind of hampering their ability to get it out to people. But at the same time, it doesn't stay on the shelves when it does go to places. So I'm really hoping it takes off, and I really want there to be an online version, because even though whether or not I'd play it is still a little up in the air, I think this is a really good competitor to Magic because it's so different, and I really want to see it succeed and become its own thing.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy the game, and I hope to play it again soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to buy that starter set because I don't think it's
that's
worth
what pennies are for.
Yeah, we've been using pennies and dimes, so
that's what this is for. These are my prototype tokens that I've been working on.
Is that what you brought it up just so you could show us your tokens?
Well, they've been sitting here because before the stream, I like documented how I wanted them to look at work, and then
did you make those out of Play-Doh?
It's modeling clay, so I can bake them and paint them, and they'll be legit tokens. I did it before with Munchkin because you have to keep track of your 10 life. So I had a small baggie of baked clay, just shapes, and then everyone would just have 10 unique shapes, and it was super easy to keep track of your life. So I was like, why don't I just do that again? But there's more.
You're making tokens. You gotta make a lot of them. And there's a lot of different kinds.
There's 6. There's stun, there's damage, there's power and defense up, keys, and amber.
Yep.
So there's 6, and some of them have different amounts because like damage goes in 1s, 3s, and 5s. I think power and defense might actually have 1s and 3s. Right now I'm just sort of testing them because some of these shapes are actually kind of difficult to make since I don't have clay tools anymore. I'm kind of using my hands and a weird shaped pick that I happen to have in my tool chest, but it's not good for writing, so I'm having a hard time carving the numbers and letters in. I need to find a better tool for that. I used to work with a decent amount of clay way back in the day, so yeah, it's a work in progress, and I also have to make sure they're not too thick or too thin. So I'm just prototyping it now. I just want to fuck around with it, but I'd like to have something a little bit more interesting than pennies because I don't keep change with me. So I'd be like,
that's what Max has a big boot full of pennies. That
yeah, I'd like $20 worth of pennies just sitting here. We got to wrap this up soon because my cat's not very happy. So
all right, well, we can just go quick into what are your video game news, and then we'll wrap the show up.
Do you have anything? I mean, obviously, I want to beat, or I want to get a full living shiny Pokedex, and Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go
Good
Eevee.
goal.
So I think that's going to take me multiple thousands of hours. So we'll see.
And we lose Steve.
What happened?
We lost Steve.
Where did Steve go? I just see you in
my
three
face
different.
Is just really big. Ooh.
Okay. I don't know where Steve went, but
well,
yeah, he totally logged off.
Since it's the end of the stream, I don't know. He's saying question mark. My gaming New Year's resolution is to play more indie games. I've been playing nothing but AAA big budget games, and I want to make it an effort of mine to play some more indie games. So I was playing The Messenger this weekend, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, I mean, we're
all right, man. Well,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna wrap the show up, but if you
yeah. No, I have nothing to say because I guess Steve disappeared. So.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us here on twitch.tv/game. Tuesday 8:00 to talk about this week's news and tabletop gaming and whatnot. So if you liked what you saw, you can catch us on YouTube. Just search Game Night Now, or on every podcast service ever, because we're everywhere now. So until next time, I'm Dan with Mex. See you later.
All right, take care, guys. The shiny hunting will continue tomorrow. So.